Did you know a Caribbean orphan arriving in America with basically nothing became the indispensable architect of its financial future?
It's an incredible story.
We're exploring Ron Chernow's Alexander Hamilton, the definitive biography today. It's just a fascinating look into the life of a man whose brilliance and controversies, too, continue to shape our world.
Chernow really paints this compelling portrait of Hamilton's improbable rise. I mean, from his illegitimate birth, the early deaths leaving him orphaned,
Yeah.
to his pivotal role in the Revolution, the Constitutional Convention, and then, ultimately creating America's foundational financial system. It's just an extraordinary story of ambition and impact, lasting impact.
And just quickly, for anyone wanting to explore figures like Hamilton even further, check out Mindful Moments on our YouTube channel.
Oh, right.
We're using some AI-powered analysis of books there to offer, maybe some fresh perspectives. It's all about encouraging your own reflection and critical thinking.
That sounds fascinating.
So let's kick things off at the beginning. Those harsh early years in the Caribbean. What really stands out about how his origins shaped him?
Well, the sheer adversity, I think. Born out of wedlock on Nevis, probably mid-1750s.
Right, the date's a bit uncertain.
Exactly. And then orphaned by 13, his mother died, his father had already abandoned the family. Just profound instability, loss. And this harsh introduction, to the brutal realities of the Caribbean slave economy, its rigid social hierarchy, it likely instilled this fierce determination in him.
To overcome it all.
Yeah, to transcend his circumstances. And it gave him a keen awareness of social inequities, I think.
It really feels like those hardships just fueled his relentless drive, doesn't it? Despite lacking much formal education early on, he clearly had this formidable intellect.
Oh, undoubtedly. His time working for that trading firm exposed him to commerce, and he just devoured books, became an avid reader.
So what was the turning point, the thing that actually got him to North America?
It's fascinating, actually. It was his talent that provided the escape route. He wrote this incredibly powerful, eloquent letter describing a devastating hurricane in St. Croix.
I remember reading about that.
And it so impressed the local community of people like Hugh Knox that they pooled resources. They basically funded his education abroad.
Wow, just from that letter.
Yeah, it shows how his intellect, his writing skills, opened doors that otherwise would have absolutely remained closed.
From the Caribbean to the colonies on the verge of revolution. Quite a leap.
A huge leap.
And he didn't waste any time getting involved, did he?
No, not at all. Arrived in New York, quickly engaged in the revolutionary movement, he actually set aside his studies at King's College.
Columbia, now.
Right, Columbia now. He set those aside pretty quickly to join the Continental Army when the war broke out. He was eager.
And he wasn't just, carrying a musket. He distinguished himself. Leader of an artillery company.
Yes, with distinction.
Yeah.
His bravery, his strategic thinking, it really stood out. And that's what caught George Washington's eye, wasn't it?
Precisely. That battlefield performance led straight to his appointment as Washington's aide-de-camp.
A pivotal role. Right at the center of the command structure, he became Washington's trusted advisor, drafting critical letters, handling incredibly sensitive matters.
It's amazing the responsibility for someone so young.
It really is. And during this intense time, he formed some really significant bonds, too.
Like John Lawrence.
Exactly. His close friendship with John Lawrence is particularly noteworthy. Chernow really delves into that deep connection, shared ideals, this intense bond forged in the heat of war.
So independence is won. Hamilton then turns his formidable energy towards nation building. He saw the weaknesses in the Articles of Confederation, right?
Oh, absolutely. He became a leading advocate for a much stronger federal government. He saw the fundamental flaws in that weak central authority under the Article.
What were his main concerns?
Well, the inability to effectively tax or regulate commerce between the states, or even enforce national laws. It convinced him a stronger federal union was just essential for survival, for prosperity. His advocacy post-war was relentless.
And then his role at the Constitutional Convention itself? Crucial.
Absolutely crucial.
Yeah.
He wasn't just there. He was a driving force.
Yeah.
Even if his own specific proposals weren't all adopted, his influence was undeniable.
And then came the Federalist Papers.
Ah, yes. A monumental achievement. His authorship of, 51 of the 85 essays?
That's right.
It provided this powerful, enduring rationale for the new Constitution. I mean, these writings are still studied today for their profound insights into American government.
They really are foundational. Okay,
Right.
So Constitution ratified. He then faces maybe an even bigger challenge. First Secretary of the Treasury. Building a national financial system from basically nothing.
An extraordinary undertaking. You have to imagine, establish the nation's credit, create a stable currency, generate revenue. Where do you even start?
Yeah.
His plans were ambitious, incredibly controversial, but their impact was transformative.
Let's break down some of those. Funding the national debt, for instance. Why was that so important strategically?
Well, beyond just paying the bills, Hamilton's policy of fully funding the debt was a bold assertion of federal power. It was also a strategic investment in future stability.
How so?
It signaled to everyone, domestically and internationally, that the United States would honor its commitments. That was crucial for building trust, getting future loans, establishing creditworthiness.
Okay. And then the assumption of state debts. That caused a huge political fight, didn't it?
Oh, massive controversy. Hamilton's rationale was that by having the federal government take over the state's war debts, he could bind the state's financial interests directly to the success of the federal government.
Strengthening federal authority that way.
Exactly. Consolidating power, creating a more unified national economy. That was the goal.
And the Bank of the United States, the first central bank, what was its intended purpose?
The bank was really central to his whole vision. It was designed to provide a uniform currency, which was sorely needed. Regulate state banks' lending, and act as the government's fiscal agent, holding federal funds, managing transactions, basically fostering economic growth and stability nationally.
He also brought in tariffs and excise taxes. Not exactly popular moves.
Definitely not universally popular. These were primarily revenue measures needed to fund the government and pay down that debt we just talked about.
Whiskey rebellion came from that, right?
Precisely. The excise tax on whiskey sparked that rebellion, highlighting the public resistance. But Hamilton argued these taxes were necessary for the nation's financial independence and solvency.
So despite all the opposition, these policies really did lay the economic foundation for the country. It's quite something.
A remarkable achievement, truly. And his vision wasn't just finance. He was also a big proponent of manufacturing, of industrial development.
Right, the report on manufacturers.
Exactly. He saw that a truly independent nation needed a diversified economy, not just agriculture. He laid out a strategy: tariffs, subsidies to encourage domestic industry. It wasn't fully implemented then, but it was a blueprint for America's industrial future.
Now, these strong convictions, these ambitious plans, they inevitably led to clashes, big ones, particularly with Jefferson and Madison.
Huge clashes. These weren't minor disagreements. They were fundamental ideological battles about the very nature of the American Republic.
Hamilton's vision versus Jefferson's.
Right. Hamilton's strong federal government, commercial economy versus Jefferson's agrarian, ideal, limited central government. These debates really shaped the early political landscape, led to the first political parties.
And amidst all this public struggle, he faced personal challenges too. The Maria Reynolds affair.
Yes, a major personal crisis and really the first major sex scandal in American political history.
How did he handle it, it seems? Revealing.
It is revealing. To defend his public integrity on financial matters, he made this incredibly damaging choice. He published the Reynolds pamphlet.
Admitting the affair publicly.
Yes, admitting the affair, but vehemently denying any financial corruption related to it. It was self-destructive. But for him, protecting his reputation for financial honesty, as he defined it, was paramount.
Wow. It really shows the complexity of the man, even facing personal ruin that focus on public financial integrity.
It's quite telling.
His later years, though, saw his political influence decline somewhat, didn't they? Leading up to that tragic duel with Aaron Burr.
Yes, his political power did wane. His public attack on John Adams certainly didn't help the Federalist Party, and that long-simmering animosity with Burr.
Fueled by years of political rivalry and perceived insult.
Exactly. It escalated and ultimately led to that fatal duel, a terrible loss for the young nation.
It's just a somber end. But his wife, Eliza, she dedicated her life to preserving his legacy, didn't she?
Eliza's commitment was extraordinary. Decades spent collecting his papers, defending his name, ensuring his contributions weren't forgotten. Chernow really highlights her vital role. Without her, our understanding of Hamilton might be very different.
It's a good reminder of the importance of preserving history. And actually, you can continue exploring the legacies of figures like Hamilton right here on our podcasts.
Absolutely.
So, reflecting on it all, from the absolute humblest beginnings in the Caribbean, Alexander Hamilton rises to become this indispensable figure, shaping the nation's financial architecture, laying the groundwork for economic power. It's just an astonishing journey.
Ambition, intellect, controversy, and ultimately tragedy. It has it all.
What's truly thought-provoking, I think, is how those core debates from Hamilton's time,
Yeah.
the balance of federal versus state power, the role of finance, industry, they still echo so strongly today, don't they? They continue to shape our national conversations.
They absolutely do. The arguments haven't entirely gone away.
Well, if you're eager to delve deeper into this remarkable life and the forces that shape the U.S., please do subscribe to stay informed and maybe share this exploration with others.
And definitely check out Ron Chernow's biography. There's a link in the show notes. It's a comprehensive read.
It really is. And most importantly, perhaps, continue to engage critically. Think about the historical forces that have molded our world and continue to influence our present.